What is going on, guys, and welcome into Leveling with Lev. Here we talk about health, wealth, relationships, and more. I want to help you level up in your life. And so without further ado, let's get into today's episode. All right, and what is going on, guys? Welcome back into another episode of Leveling with Lem. I'm your host, Lemmy Williams, and in today's topic, we'll be talking about how losing is a mindset. This is going to be amazing because a lot of us out there have won and a lot of us out there have lost. But what have we done after those two? What's the energy shift when it comes to a win? What's the energy shift when it comes to a loss? That's what we're going to talk about today. Now let's figure out, what does it even mean to lose? Losing is no longer having something because it was taken away from you either on accident or on purpose. Make sense? I have a question for you now. Have you ever lost something? Yes. Have you ever worked hard on something and in the end you still lost? Yeah, this can be a game, a competition, a relationship, something at work that happened. Just think about all the losses that you had in your life. Think about them. All right, so now that you thought about all the losses in your life, here's where I interrupt. Friends, all the stuff that you have ever, quote unquote, considered as a loss is a result from you not working through it in order for it to feel like a win. Here's what I mean by that. Losing can seem heartbreaking at first, right? It changes your positive emotion into a negative emotion and then your confident thought process into a doubtful thought process. But there it is. That's exactly what I'm talking about. The emotions change, the thought process change. Losing is 100% a mindset because it's a shift from thinking confident and being positive, and then you shift yourself into being negative and doubtful. Losing is 100% a mindset. I want to give you a quick story if you still don't understand what I mean by losing is a mindset. So it was 2012, first boxing match ever. I trained for about a year and a half before the fight even happened. I stepped into the ring just really scared, though. I stepped into the ring unsure of myself. I think I was 13 or 14 years old. I was so nervous, guys. There's so much that happens before you even fight. You do your weigh-in. You see all the commotion going on in the audience. You're watching other fights until your fight comes up. They're going up in weight class, so that's how the fights happen. And finally, it's your weight class to fight. There's so much. And you guys, I was just so nervous. I was so nervous. I stepped into the fight. I lost. Let's just say that. He beat me up. I got some shots in on him, but he definitely beat me up. I step out. The doctor checks me for a quick concussion. I'm fine. I go into the locker room. I cry like a baby. I was upset, and I was sitting in there for like 30 minutes, just so upset with myself. I felt completely defeated, and as if all the work I did didn't matter. I was just really upset about it. But then I stood up. I changed. I walked out, and I told my coach, I said, "Hey, can we leave?" He said, "Yeah, let's go." We left, and I get in the car, and I'm just super excited at this moment. I don't know what started getting me excited, but I started thinking about all the stuff I was going to do to fix not ever losing again. And I started thinking about just training everybody that was on my boxing team, training with everyone on my boxing team and sparring with them until I didn't lose against any of them. I wanted my coach to run me and just train me like a dog. And I told him, I said, I just want to win in anything I do. I never want to lose again. I said, so if I have to spar you and anyone inside the studio, I said, I will. He said, okay, Lemmy, I love that. And so with that being said, guys, what happened was I transitioned my thinking. At first, it was negative, doubtful, and pitiful, just sitting there and just being so negative about the fight and just on record, yes, losing, but mentally, I didn't have to lose. Does that make sense? I could have took the record loss. What I mean by that, like I said, the stat of, hey, fighter one lost fight number one. But personally in my life, I told myself once I got in the car with my coach, I said, I'm not ever going to lose again. And I had this winner's mentality that no matter what happens, win or lose, I'm going to work like a dog. I'm going to spar everyone inside the studio until I win, until I don't lose. And whatever the best fighter is, because when you're a boxer, you can also go train at other studios with different boxing clubs just to spar around, get to learn the community and the town you're in. You can do that. And we started doing that. He said, we're going to just send you around town and you're going to just fight at other studios just to figure out what other fighters feel like. You know what the team does. You see us fight all amongst each other. He said, I want to bring you to different environments. So we did that. And I felt good. But the moral of the story is when you lose, it shows you who you are in that moment. No matter how hard you train, no matter how hard you worked, a loss shows you where you overcalculated or where you undercalculated. Guys, you have to continuously learn from your losses. You have to. And if you don't, you'll continue to make the same mistakes over and over and over again. And that is so exhausting. You know this. Learn from your losses. I was listening to an interview from Conor McGregor, and he had said the day you stop learning is the day you start losing. Think about that. The day you stop learning is the day you start losing. You have to learn from your losses. Okay? So when it comes to winning, we all know that when you win, your energy increases, your confidence increases by a ton. Everything feels good, and you're just so euphoric when you win, right? But losing, for some of us, can do the complete opposite. Now, my question is, how can you shift your feelings, your energy when a loss happens? How can you shift it? I'm going to give you 2 points. So for starters, you need to start doing something that you love, because when you're doing something that you love, it's easy to adjust when a loss happens, because you're like, okay, for an example, we'll do it with boxing still. So I took the loss, but I loved boxing. I love fighting. So that first 30 minutes, I was crying. That first 30 minutes, I was really upset, and I was really upset with myself, right? I was blaming myself for everything. But then after that, I was like, wait a minute, I love boxing. This is a chance for me to improve. This is a chance for me to get better, right? And I was able to learn from all my mistakes, sitting there for 30 minutes thinking about everything that happened in the fight. And I told myself, this is how I'm going to get better. But you have to love what you do in order for... Personally, I think you have to love what you do in order for yourself to make a change in what's happening, right? If you're losing a lot in something that you don't love, you really don't care. Think about it. If you don't love what you do and losing happens, that doesn't mean nothing to you because you don't care about it. And even winning might not even matter to you because you just don't want to put energy into something that you don't love or really care about. Does that make sense? So even if a win happens in a job that you have or in a sport that you're playing, but you really don't care too much for it, you're not really going to celebrate the win. You're not going to be too crazy for it, right? Does that make sense? And so for all my folks out there who are doing something that you love, I want you to listen close. And also for the people out there who aren't doing anything that they love, I want you to listen even closer. I want to explain this just a little bit more with 4 points. So with these 4 points, this is me explaining exactly why losing is a mindset. So point number 1, when a loss happens, you start to negative self-talk. You dwell on all your feelings and negative feelings that you're going through. You say horrible things to yourself and affirm them. Oh, I am this. I am that. Oh, I hate this about myself, right? Don't do this, guys, because what happens is you lose against your opponent on the outside, and then you lose against yourself on the inside. Going into point number 2, before the loss even happens, and I did this before my boxing match, before the loss even happens, you conjure up the fear of failure. You're afraid of stepping into something that scares you or might challenge you. You're scared of taking the risk. And the thing is, in life, we take risks every single day. You take a risk with going to bed. You take a risk with driving to work every single day. You take a risk with getting on a plane. You take a risk with spending money. You see what I mean? You take a risk with putting your food in the microwave. There's so many risks that happens, but you don't think about those, right? Those are easy day-to-day ones that you have gotten used to. But when it comes to an intentional or deliberate risk, when it comes to developing yourself and actually challenging parts of you that you haven't worked on in years, you're scared to do it. And you shoot yourself in the foot before even attempting to step into that. Now, number 3, a loss happens and you fall down really hard on this one. This one hurts to the core, right? This shook you up. But when you fall down, guess what? You let yourself stay down, which is a lack of resilience. You give in too easy. You gave up too easy. You let your setback hold you back. The lack of resilience in these situations will ruin any progress you want to make because you don't have the intestinal fortitude to get up. You don't have the intestinal fortitude to tell yourself, hey, wait a minute, shake my head, dust my shoulders off, let me get up. You don't have that within you yet because you sit here with this loser's mentality and you think that someone's going to come give you a helping hand. The thing is, someone can give you a helping hand, but on the other side, you have to use your legs to push yourself up as well, too. Does that make sense? You guys got to build some resiliency, okay? Number 4. You have something coming up for work and you start focusing on the limitations instead of your strengths. Stop doing that, because when you focus on all your limitations, guess what? You're not able to identify what you're good at. You're not able to identify the things that you believe that you can do better and improve on, right? And these are strengths. You just focus on all the limitations, which results in a limited belief in yourself and never utilizing your true strength. You don't know how You don't know how authentic you are. You don't know how special you are. And you don't know what skills you can contribute to the world to make it a better place. You don't know what to contribute to the world to make your subjective world a better place. And so therefore you focus on your limitations. And that pulls you out of so many opportunities in life. Those are the 4 guys. And I know 100% that I can relate to it. I've fallen for these too many times in my life. Even this year, a little bit, to be honest. But you have to be resilient. You have to take the loss and use it as fuel to go into the next step, to go into the next level, the next chapter into your life. You have to. Does it take time to assess, readjust, and be accountable for all the losses? Yes, but these are personal losses. That's you having your losing mindset and your loser mentality to think that this was a personal loss in your life. No, you don't have to consider it that. Not at all. Take it as a win. Take it as an opportunity to grow into the next step and to see where you went wrong. And you're like, okay, now we fix this. It takes time and it takes a strong sense of belief to know that you can win in life. We all live in our subjective world first before we even step out into this world. So make that a fun place for you. Make that a positive place for you. Start doing more internal work to build a winner's mindset. Strive for more even when you think you have less. That's what I always do. Losing comes. It comes and goes your entire life until you transition into your next life, until you pass away. So while you're here, learn how to transform any loss into a unique win. You understand? I want to give you a quick story on a celebrity. You guys might know who this is. I'm a big fan of Nipsey Hussle. I started studying him in 2019. Huge fan. Love him. But anyway, so here's the story. So Nipsey Hussle, him and his brother, back in the day before he even had his clothing brand now, he was selling CDs and T-shirts on the corner of Slauson Avenue. The police came up to him and his brother. They shut it all down. They took everything. They said, in order for you to sell stuff, you need to get a shop. And so they took all his stuff away. They said, you need a business license. They took all of it away. And all the stuff they invested, all the stuff that they created, the Crenshaw T-shirts and the Crenshaw crew necks and all Nipsey Hussle CDs, they took all of it. And so they're like, damn, what do we do? What do we do now? And so obviously they hustled, they got their money back up, and they opened a shop. And then first it was called Slauson Tees, and now what we know is called the Marathon Clothing Store. And so you see how they readjusted. You see how that setback could have like, oh man, that was all our money. They took away our shirts. We had stuff lined up. They could have took that and sat on it, and then they're like, we can't do this, and never created the Marathon Clothing Store. Does that make sense? And so that's what I mean. You have to be resilient. The winner mindset has endurance. The winner mindset has strength and resiliency behind it. The losing mindset lacks all of that. Friends, look, I'm not here to bark up your tree and get you all pissed off or make you feel like a loser. That's not the thing. And if you're thinking you're a loser, you still have the losing mentality. You should be listening to this and it should fuel you to want to be a winner. I want you to win in life. Who doesn't? Okay? So start anything that comes to you and you consider it a loss, like in that first 30 minutes or the first 10 minutes, I want you to see it or use it as an opportunity to get better. It's all a learning experience, right? Like Conor McGregor said, the day you stop learning is the day you start losing, you guys. So just keep learning from your mistakes. Use any loss that you take personally for like the first few minutes and then kind of readjust and reassess and say, actually, this is an opportunity for me to get better. So it's okay. I'm not going to take it as a loss. This is the win for me to get even better at my skill. I love you guys. I want you to win the day. Keep your head up. Keep your chest tall. You got this. Peace.
Thank you so much for listening in on Leveling with Lem today. If this podcast helped give you value in your life, please make sure to give me a 5-star review or to write one yourself. I appreciate you guys and love you. Have the best day ever. Peace.